Hello students, this is Dr. Sravani Karmakar. Today we are going to learn about lambda phage lytic lysogeny switch. This is a very nice mechanism about the gene regulation in the viral gene expression. Okay, so here we start. To begin with, we need to understand the life cycle of the lambda phage, the bacteriophages which attack the bacterium. This is the electron microscopic image of a bacterium, and you can see that the phage viruses are attacking the bacteria. Now, what it does after it enters into the bacterium cell? The phage virus, as we all know, it attaches itself to the bacterium wall and then releases the DNA into the bacterium cell. Now, when the viral DNA is inside the bacterium cell, it can replicate. Now, it has two options. Either it can go to lytic cycle or it can go to lysogenic cycle. In the lytic cycle, the DNA, viral DNA replicates and it also captures the bacterial cell machinery and started producing its own proteins. That is the bacteriophage head proteins and bacteriophage tail proteins. After that, they will assemble, that is the head and tail proteins will assemble and form the phage particles. Then the bacteriophage particles will get the viral DNA and they will release from the bacterium and they can then infect many more bacteriums. Whereas in the lysogenic cycle, the bacteriophage DNA enters and integrates into the genome of the bacterium, and we call it as a prophage state, and it can replicate along with the bacterial genome. So, how the virus chooses to go to the lytic cycle or go to the lysogenic cycle, that is controlled by a very well maintained genetic switch. Okay, so we are going to study that, how it directs the switch, how it directs the genetic switch to go on to the lytic cycle or to go on to the lysogenic cycle. So this is the genome of the bacteriophage lambda, and you can see this is a double-stranded circular DNA, and here we can see the green colored genes are the tail genes and red colored genes are the head genes. So these head and tail genes are required to produce head and tail proteins, that is they are required for the lytic cycle, but they are not required for the lysogenic cycle. Whereas the genes for DNA replication and the genes for lysogeny and also the excision, integration and the prophage end, these all are required for the lysogenic cycle. Okay, and the genes for lysis proteins, the cosides and the regulator of let genes. So these lysis proteins genes are required for lytic cycle. Okay, and also there are many more genes which are present here. We'll get to know that which control which steps. Okay, so we will see how lytic cycle is established and how lysogenic cycle is established. Okay, so this is the genetic switch which is present in the bacteriophage DNA. Okay, here you can see PRM and PR. So these two are promoters. Promoter for repressor maintenance and promoter right direction. Promoter for right direction gene synthesis. And on the right hand side we have CRO, and on the left hand side we have C1. Now this CRO is one repressor and C1 is another repressor. So these two repressors are the major repressors which controls the gene switch, or which controls whether the bacteriophage will choose lytic cycle or the bacteriophage will choose lysogenic cycle. Okay, so you can see that when CRO is off, that is CRO repressor is not produced, that time the bacteriophage will choose lysogenic growth. That means it needs C1 protein to be in the lysogenic stage. And when CRO is on and C1 is off, that time it chooses lytic phase or lytic cycle. That means CRO protein is needed for lytic growth. Okay, so that's why we call it as biphasic switch. And we can see that these two promoters, PRM and PR, their locations are same. And if we expand, then we can see three different operators are present in this promoter: OR3, OR2, and OR1. Okay, so this CRO actually will bind to the OR1 region, okay, CRO transcript, and this C1 transcript. So C1 will bind to the OR3. Okay, so that's how actually they will inhibit each other. Okay, so we need C1 to promote to lysogenic stage, and we need CRO repressor to promote to lytic cycle. Okay, so now let's see in detail what happens in the lytic phase. Before going into that detail, we need to know that we have five important regulatory proteins and five important regulatory promoters for this genetic switch. Okay, and lytic cycle has three different phases, three sub phases we can say. One, immediate early, and then second, delayed early, and then third, late stage. Okay, so there are some genes which are produced in immediate early phase, there are some genes which are produced in delayed early stage, and there are some genes which are produced in late stage. Okay, now see, among these five regulatory proteins, N and Q, these two regulatory proteins are anti-terminator. That means they can actually uh, inhibit termination. Okay, that's why anti-terminator. So they inhibit termination, or they can pass through the termination signals. Okay, or we can say that they can help the ribosomes to pass through the termination signals. And what is the function of CRO? CRO is a repressor, as we already talked about. And what are the functions of C1 and C2? C1 is another repressor, so that also we have talked about. And C2 is an activator of two different promoters. Okay. So now five different proteins, and out of the five, two anti-terminator and two repressors, and one is activator. Okay. Now we have five different promoters for this genetic switch to function. What are they? So now two different promoters for lytic cycle are PR and PL. So simply leftward gene expression and rightward gene expression. So PR and PL. Then we have another three promoters, one PRM, another PRE, and another PINT. So PINT is for integration and excision genes. So obviously those will be needing for the lysogenic cycle, because the viral DNA has to attach with the bacterial genome. So for that we need integration and excision genes, and those genes will be expressed for the promoter PINT. Okay, and PRM is a promoter which actually will express repressor maintenance proteins, and PRE is a promoter which will express proteins for repressor establishment. Okay, so we need three promoters for our lysogeny establishment, and we need two promoters for our lytic cycle establishment. Okay, so this is the establishment of lytic cycle. And as we already talked about that, we have three subphases. The first subphase, immediate early stage, we have N and CRO protein. So you can see that the components involved in activation are in green, and components involved in repression are in red. So these are for repression. CRO is the repressor, which is actually produced in the delayed early stage. Okay, so we have N produced in the immediate early stage, which is the vital anti-terminator protein for lytic cycle to be established. Okay, we will also have some amount of CRO, what is the function of N? So N will actually inhibit the TL terminator sequence and TR1 and TR2. And that's why in the delayed early stage, the transcription will go on to the lysis proteins here. Okay, so these lysis proteins are actually in this region. So obviously these two terminator sequence has to be passed through. Okay, and so this is the delayed RD stage. And what happens when CRO is produced? CRO can actually inhibit this PL and PR now. Okay, so that basically we don't produce N after this. Okay, so that's how actually it controls. So in the immediate early stage, N functions primarily, and in the delayed early stage, CRO and Q they function. Okay, so here when actually N inhibits the TL terminator, that time we have this head and tail protein genes expression. That means by inhibiting this TL terminator, we can have the head and tail proteins, and by inhibiting this TR1 and TR2, we have the replication and lytic genes. So now we have all the genes required for the lytic cycle. Okay. So C2 is not involved here, so that's why it is like faint green in color. So we can see now that what happens in the lysogenic cycle. Okay. So this is the summary of the earlier figure we explained. So we can again summarize that one gene product produced at each stage is required to stimulate gene expression in the next stage. Okay, so N is produced in the immediate early stage and it stimulates the delayed early gene expression, whereas Q is produced in the delayed early stage and it stimulates the late gene expression. Okay? So that means N and Q are the vital thing for lytic cycle to establish. And the promoters PL and PR are critical for both immediate early and delayed early transcription. And also we talked about the transcription terminators and how they are inhibited. Then the stimulation of late gene expression by Q protein, which is also complemented by repression of PR and PL transcripts by the CRO protein. So N and Q are the primary helper in the lytic cycle, and CRO also actually helps them, okay, in the final late stage. So this is the lytic cycle establishment. Okay. Now let's go to the lysogeny establishment. Here the C2 protein activates transcription at the promoter PRE and PINT. So PRE is actually here. This is the location of PRE and this is the location of PINT. So C2 activates these two promoters so that we can have the genes for recombination expressed, and we also have C1 expressed. Okay, so we want C1 to express and we want the genes for recombination to express. And once C1 is produced, C1 can inhibit all the promoters except PRM. Okay. So C1 repressor is basically antagonist of the CRO repressor. Okay. So in the lysogeny establishment, we need two proteins, two vital proteins, C1 and C2. The function of C2 is to activate transcription at two promoters. One is PINT, another is PRE. So the repressor will be established and the genes for recombination will be expressed. Okay, and finally C1 actually inhibits all other gene expression other than the promoters PRM, that is C1 itself will be produced. Okay, so this is the lysogeny establishment. So N and CRO and Q, they will not be expressed here. Okay, if at all they are there, but they will be inhibited by C1. So I hope You have learned about lytic cycle establishment and also lysogeny establishment. So this is again the summarizing of the lysogeny establishment in the bacteriophage lambda. So here we all know that C2 protein activates the transcription at PRE and PINT, and C1 repressor is an antagonist of the CRO repressor, and it shuts down all the gene expression except from PRN. Okay, so this is how. So C1 is the vital thing for lysogeny establishment. And finally, to conclude, we can say that to establish and maintain lysogeny, we need C1 to bind to 6 operators. Okay, so there are 6 operators, and largely speaking, OL and OR. And this OL has 3 parts and OR has also 3 parts. Sequence of the 6 operators are different so that the C1 protein binds most tightly to OR1 and OL1 and least tightly to OR3. Binding to the OL1 blocks transcription from PL. That means when C1 binds to the OL1, it blocks the transcription from PL. Okay, so this is actually how the mechanism, how actually C1 maintains or C1 inhibits the transcription from PL and PR. So by binding to the OL1, it can inhibit transcription from PL, and by binding to OR1, it can inhibit transcription from PR, thus inhibiting the production of N and Q.